Hi everyone, it's Raina. I'm doing this video on the new moon in Scorpio, which is happening on October 30th. And I'm going to be picking 3 energy oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. This is what the box looks like. This is the booklet. And this is what the back of the cards look like. It's so pretty. I love these colors. I don't know if in this light at nighttime, if it's going to kind of show up as well. But yeah, you know, sometimes when you get different decks, the cards are quite flimsy, and these cards are very substantial. Actually, they have, it's funny it's called energy oracle cards because there's almost like this magnetic quality to them where they're sticking to each other like magnets. So it's really interesting. I haven't experienced that with other decks. So I'm going to pick 3 cards from here, and then I will read from the booklet about what it says as the, you know, interpretation for each card, and then I will kind of give my own spin on it. And oh, you know what I wanted to say though? Here, let me put these cards down, face down, and then I'll just, you know, turn them up as I go along. But I wanted to say something about Scorpio and the new moon and what it could mean for people, because Scorpio rules the 8th house. And, you know, it said death, sex, and other people's money. So a lot of times it can deal with transformation because, you know, Pluto is the ruler there. Pluto and Mars rule Scorpio. Pluto specifically is associated with Scorpio. And Pluto is a very transformative energy. And in the 8th house, because Scorpio is a water sign, the 8th house is a water house. And that means that it's a yin or feminine energy, and therefore the transformation is internal. Okay? And so when we have this new moon, it's a new beginning. But the new beginning is not necessarily for something on the outside. It might be a new attitude that you have. And it might be something radically different from, you know, your typical state of consciousness or typical mentality. You know, like I have the sun in the 8th house. So even though I am a sun in Sagittarius, because I have the sun in that 8th house, it's like I have a sub-influence of Scorpio. And I say sometimes that I'm an honorary sun in Scorpio because my sun is in that 8th house. And so, you know, the 8th house also deals with the occult, the mysteries of life. Okay, so people who have prominent, you know, Scorpio energy, 8th house energy, tend to be quite, especially like with the sun, because that tends to be, you know, the self, you know. People like me can really transform themselves quite radically during their lifetime. So somebody who may have known me 20 years ago might not recognize me today because I'm so different than I was back then. And the same thing applies for any of you who have sun in Scorpios, sun in Scorpio, or another major personal influence like the moon, or even your rising sign, I suppose, or your Mars, Venus. These Scorpio influences can really mean that you are transformed by whatever planet is in that sign. Okay, so it's just amazing how powerful an energy it is and how powerful a sign it is. But realize that a lot of the transformation is on an internal level, because a lot of times people focus on the outer or the image as being transformation, and that's not necessarily all there is. And well, not necessarily, that's definitely not all that's going on. Even if you transform your body, you have to transform your state of mind in order to do that, right? I mean, in order to, especially if it's a dramatic change, and let's say you want to get really, really healthy, and you have a big goal in mind, that's going to take a lot of mental effort, and you have to change totally to get there. So it's very interesting. It really is. And it's because it's a new moon, people feel compelled to change. But the question is, what is the transformation you want to achieve, and what is prompting you to do this? Do you have a worthy, a lofty goal? Okay, so let's see what the cards. Okay, this one is appreciation. Okay, and I know with this light, I'll see if it shows up very well. And this is a woman holding a coin. Okay, fifth chakra, Archangel Gabriel. All right. So I'm going to read the first card for appreciation. Let me put this out in front so you can see it better, maybe, possibly. All right. This is about choosing gratitude. This card, maybe I'll hold it up. Probably would be a little bit easier to see. This card shows a woman holding a single rose. She enjoys the scent and beauty of the single blossom, yet around and behind her are bramble bushes. I have to turn the page. She could be focusing on these, worried that she might get caught up in their prickly branches of difficulty. Instead, she's pausing to experience the blessing of this single flower. The sun is breaking through the clouds, shining on her choice and on the tiny buds waiting to open up. This card, upright, is telling you that you have much to be grateful for, and like the flowering bush behind the woman on the card, there is more to come that you can't yet see. Congratulate yourself for every moment that you choose appreciation. This decision shifts your consciousness from lack to value, and it's guaranteed to bring more worth and richness of life to you. That's wonderful. Because, it's very interesting. Sometimes when I'm online and I read comments that people leave, and this happened to me today. This isn't, I'm not talking about my videos per se, but if I'm watching something that is supposed to be uplifting, like a self-help seminar, and it's all about something, positive, and the comments that people tend to leave, like let's say there's a live stream, or it doesn't have to be any kind of comments, that people sometimes are coming from a great position or attitude of lack consciousness. And to me, a lack of gratitude is a form of lack consciousness, because the person can only see their lack. And to me, when this happened today, it was so clear as a bell to me that these people were, to me, they were being like unnecessarily negative and limited in their thinking. And yet now that I reflect upon it, I realize that, there's always a first time for everything, or, a gradual move into a certain direction. And sometimes people are at that stage in the beginning, and they gradually understand that they have a lot to, it's not just saying, oh, you have a lot to be grateful for, but that they really feel it in their bones, and also that they realize that to not be in that state of gratitude is a very painful condition. And once you understand that and you can appreciate it, it's not about being fake and pretending that your life is just perfect when you don't feel that it is, but to appreciate things. And I see it even in when, something as mundane as you're in a store and you're paying for something and saying thank you. And I always notice when people don't say thank you to the cashier. And, they might be thinking, well, you should be saying thank you to me. And, I think that it works both ways. But I notice that sometimes people get their change and they just are silent. And I'm like, wow. Or somebody holds the door open for you and you're silent and you don't say thank you. It's not even about the etiquette of being polite. I'm talking about, like, I am grateful that there are still some people who think of others, and it's not being fake. I really am grateful for that. I'm grateful for, like today, I don't drive, and so I'm either riding my bike or I'm walking or taking public transportation. But today I was riding my bike, and I was coming, to a place where, a car was waiting to cross a busy street. And normally they will go over the crosswalk and they will block the way, and you have to wait for them to go onto the main road. But this time he backed up and he allowed me to go. And it only took him, a couple of seconds. But you would be surprised at how rare it is for a driver to do that. They normally will say, well, I was already here, tough luck, But he allowed me to do that because there was a lot of traffic, and he knew that, he had the time to be able to do that. But he also had the consciousness to think of me too. And I thanked him, and I was really grateful. And I realized that sometimes it may not feel like you have anything to be grateful for. And so keeping a gratitude journal, and even something as simple as, noticing, that you have a roof over your head, or you've been able to eat, something that, we normally take for granted, most of us, is really a place to start. If you can't think of any other thing. And maybe over time it becomes a habit. If you're consistent in your journal, it can become a habit. But the point is, whatever it takes to get you to that place where you can, appreciate things on a regular basis and do so in a genuine fashion, that's definitely worth doing. Okay, so the next one is a woman holding a coin. That's number 42. Okay, so I'm going to put this down, and I am going to read from the book without holding it because it's a lot easier that way. Okay. Female connection in money, health, or value. So this full moon, because it's Scorpio is a feminine energy in and of itself, and the moon is a feminine planet. Okay. It's interesting because we have that when you have a new moon, it means the sun and the moon are in conjunction in a sign. So they're in the same sign, same degree. When they come together, that's the new moon. So it's a double feminine energy. Well, the two Scorpios, the sun is a masculine energy. The sun is the father, the moon is the mother. So female connection in money, health, or value. The elegantly dressed woman on this card sits on a beautiful chair holding a bright gold coin. When the coin comes upright in a woman's reading, it may refer to her directly and to a successor and to a successful endeavor regarding her own finances or health. This card could also signal a woman of support or assistance regarding these issues. She may give you financial advice or connect you with someone who does. This woman may be someone you meet where you make your money, or it may be a woman of wealth and value. Either way, this card is telling you to be on the lookout for helpful assistance or even the possibility of new love or friendship connected to a woman of wealth or business. Okay, well, that's really interesting. One thing I wanted to say too about the Scorpio energy is that it is associated with other people's money. And this can include inheritances because, the other part of that eighth house is death. And so those two combined, equals, estates, some sort of wills and things of that nature. And also probably, like if you're also your spouse's money. And it's very interesting how we, because the second house is our earned income and then the eighth house is other people's money. So there's like this opposition. And I was just, I was just talking about reading something online. I was just reading somebody say something about a YouTuber and say that she, makes these videos and she just hardly puts any effort and she makes all this money. And what I wanted to, and I did say to that person is, that's how it should be. We shouldn't have to struggle to earn money. And that's part of the flow, of not being resistant to having things work easily for you. And I think it might be, and I'm speaking specifically of America, but I'm sure there are versions of this in every culture of the, puritanical or work ethic thing where life is a struggle. And that was, I think, part of the Piscean age, if you want to know the truth. And we're moving into the Aquarian age. And I feel like in the other era, it was all about suffering. Even the idea of God was that God or Jesus, died for you. Somebody sacrificed so that you could have all of this. So you need to therefore do this because, and it's even like the, parents, right? Parents say, I sacrificed for you, now you owe me. And, I know that not all parents are like that, but, sometimes it's implied in certain cases. And so when I think of this card about a woman holding a coin, and about, how does money come to us and how do we, attract money? It's sometimes even when people are have money come to them through like the lottery or through a trust fund or what have you, they don't really feel deserving of it, or somebody who has an inheritance and they feel like I did not earn this, so I didn't deserve it. And my feeling now about that is if you have it, you deserved it. I'm talking about, if, you didn't do anything nefarious, but if you just were gifted with something, and even if you didn't have to work for it, you should embrace it. And that's part of prosperity consciousness, is not turning away your good because it's not coming in a certain way and you don't trust it. Okay, so this one. So this is the fifth chakra, which is the, I hope I'm saying this correctly, Vishuddha. Sometimes it has alternate pronunciations or even spellings. It's Archangel Gabriel, I guess, rules this chakra. I thought Krishna did too, in the Hindu pantheon. So let me see. And that's the chakra of communication. And before I read the interpretation, I just wanted to say that, I've been thinking about, the fifth chakra and thinking, do a lot of us have overactive fifth chakras these days? Are we over communicating? Because now that we have this technology, we have the ability to just be constantly outside of ourselves, always like projecting to others, but not necessarily taking in silence. And I was thinking this even before I was really, big on the internet. I was just thinking in terms of cell phones. When cell phones first came out, people tended to kind of flaunt them because they were kind of like status symbols. So they would be, have these obnoxious ringtones that were very loud so that you could, draw attention to yourself and all these things. And they were having these, long conversations. And it seemed to me that people were never going within. They were always outside themselves. Well, nowadays, you don't see that same kind of thing. I think the novelty wore off, where people realized that it was a very disrupting influence to constantly be at other people's beck and call. So now some people turn off their cell phones a lot, and maybe they'll just talk to people when they feel like talking to them. But then they might be doing it in a different way. They might be posting on Facebook or other social media sites. And I think that there is definite benefit in that to some degree, but I wonder if sometimes we're going too much in the outer direction instead of kind of keeping our own counsel and not always like taking in other people's opinions through that. So it's just something that I've been thinking about. So it says self-expression and speaking your truth. Gabriel holds his trumpet in one hand and a beautiful orb of blue light in the other. I think I'll be able to hold those. He is sending powerful energy to your throat center, acknowledging your power to communicate and your readiness to do so. This angel opens you up to truthful expression, both with yourself and others. You may have had trouble with expressing emotions and ideas in the past, but Gabriel is here to tell you that your soul longs to take this leap now. Be aware that true communication includes how you speak to yourself. So never deny your profound integral value. Speak up for yourself. Write in your journal. Let your words flow. Now is the time to express yourself freely and fully, and the universe always honors your choice to do so. This card could also indicate that a communication project is coming, or a time of heightened communication with spirit and telepathy with others. Well, certainly with this Scorpio new moon, you're dealing with, and not just that, but also, do we have Mercury in Scorpio right now? Yeah. That's, Mercury is our thought, so it's like telepathic thought when you have a water sign with the Mercury. So, speaking your truth, what does that mean? Well, it obviously is self-explanatory, But a lot of people, one of the things that I've noticed, which I have to say I don't think that's correct, is a lot of people think that being, rude is being truthful. And really it's not, and I'll tell you why. Even if it's something that you really feel about somebody. Like, let's say you know somebody. Maybe they're your best friend, maybe they're just an acquaintance, and you say, that's really not your color. Now, you may be 100% you may really feel that that's the case. But is it a constructive comment to that person? Even if you feel that looking good is like the ultimate, that other person obviously liked what they put on and it made them feel good. And, do you really need to tell them that? And I have experienced where people say things and then they say, well, I'm just being honest. And it's really like, I don't buy that. I think that there's a destructive element in that. And I think that the person is doing so from a position of their own envy or something going on with them that they want to knock you down a peg. And on the other hand, if somebody tells you something and they're being very genuine and they're not being snarky, and you really know this person is a good person, if you cannot receive their truth, that's another thing as well, because communication goes both ways. So if somebody says something to you and you immediately fight it, instead of sitting with it and really kind of absorbing it and seeing if there is some element of truth that may be constructive for your life, that's something to look at as well, because we have to be willing to accept other people's communication as long as it's coming from a loving place. And that's always the dilemma there, or the challenge, I should say. So in any case, you guys, I hope that you have a wonderful new moon in Scorpio, and think about ways that you want to transform yourself from the inside out. And of course you can do that any day. You don't have to pick tomorrow or the 30th of October to be able to change your life. You can change when you feel the timing is right for you, but just always be willing to change, I guess, is the bigger point that I'm trying to make. And I wish you all the best. Bye.